In this video, we shall be talking about the milestone of pregnancy, so gear up as we dive into this topic. So what is pregnancy? Pregnancy is a term used to describe the period in which a fetus develops inside a woman's womb or uterus. The first month of pregnancy in the first trimester is from weeks 1 to 4.
During weeks 1 to 2 of pregnancy, this is when the body is preparing for a baby. The body slowly releases hormones and the uterus prepares for a potential pregnancy. If the sperm meets the egg right after ovulation, then the process of pregnancy continues. In week 3, a single sperm and the mother's egg cell meet in the fallopian tube. The combined sperm and egg is now called a zygote. It contains all the genetic information needed to become a baby. During this time, it divides to form a ball of cells called the blastocyst. It is made up of inner group of cells with an outer shell. The inner group of cells become the embryo, which will become into a baby. In week 4, once the blastocyst reaches the uterus, it buries itself in the uterine wall. The blastocyst sticks tightly to the wall of the uterus and receives nourishment from the mother's blood. In week 5, the cells of the embryo will multiply and start to take on a specific function which is called differentiation. The embryo grows rapidly and the external features begin to form. The brain, spinal cord, and heart begin to develop, and gastrointestinal tract starts to form. In week 6, tiny buds that become arms and legs also develop, blood cells are taking shape and circulation will begin. In week 7, bones begin replacing soft cartilage and genitals begin to form. The embryo's head is large in proportion to the rest of its body. Some people may think that the embryo resembles a small tadpole or seahorse due to its prominent tail, which will become the legs and large head. In week 8, the embryo has web-like hands and feet, eyes becomes visible, and ears begin to form. By the end of the second month, the fetus is about 0.5 to 1 inch long, about the size of a black bean. In week 9, the beginnings of teeth and taste buds are forming, and the muscles are forming in the shape that takes on more of a human appearance, but the head is still 50% of its length. In week 10, the embryo has developed sufficiently to be called a fetus. The arms, hands, fingers, feet, and toes are fully formed. Fingernails and toenails are beginning to develop, and the external ears form. The external genitals also begin to form. In week 11, now about the size of a fig, the fetus development is in full swing. It is starting to explore a bit by doing things like opening and closing its fists and mouth. The bones are hardening, but the skin is still see-through. Facial features are more prominent. In week 12, all the organs, bones, limbs, and muscles are present and will continue to develop in order to become fully functional. The fetus is drinking and peeing amniotic fluid. Now weighing approximately 1/2 ounce, the fetus is now about the size of a key lime. At the end of the third month, the fetus is about 2.5 to 3 inches long, about the size of a plum. On the fourth month, which is the second trimester, which consists of the weeks 13 to 16. Week 13 of the second trimester is the developing of the tiny vocal cords. However, sounds will not be produced for approximately 6 more months. The developing baby is now almost 3 inches long and about the size of a pea pod. Week 14, the fetus's skin starts to thicken and fine hair begins to grow. External genitals are fully developed and fingerprints begin to form. Now about the size of a kiwi, the movements are more complex. In week 15, some organs like intestine and ears are moving to their permanent location. The fetus still uses amniotic fluid to practice breathing, but its lungs are beginning to develop. It begins to do movements like sucking its thumb or smiling. In week 16, the fetus has lips and ears. Even though its eyes are closed, the fetus can react to light by turning away from it. By the end of the fourth month, the fetus is about 5 inches long and about 4 ounces. For reference, it's about as big as an avocado. In week 17, the fetus still has skin but will start to put on fat. Its skin is covered with a whitish coating called vernix. In week 18, the fetus is covered in lanugo, a peach fuzz-like hair that helps to keep the fetus warm and provides another layer of protection. It may have a sleep-wake cycle, and loud noises may wake the fetus if it's asleep. In week 19, by this stage, the fetus can hear and is more active and continues to move out and float around. The mother may feel a fluttering in the lower abdomen called quickening. In week 20, the fetus's nails grow toward at the end of its fingers, and the area of the brain is responsible for its 5 senses to begin to develop. By the end of this month, the fetus is about 9 to 10 inches long and weighs about 1 pound.
In the 6th month of pregnancy, weeks 21 to 24, the fetus's eyelids begin to part and you may notice regular jerking movements. Week 21, the movements are coordinated and frequent. The fetus has bone marrow that helps it produce blood cells. Week 22, the fetus grasps are getting stronger and it can touch its ears and umbilical cord. It can hear your heartbeat, your stomach rumble, and your breathing. Week 23. If born prematurely, the fetus may survive after the 23rd week with intensive care. It will begin rapidly adding fats to its body. Week 24. The fetus's lungs are fully developed, but not well enough to work outside your uterus. By the end of the 6th month, the fetus is about 12 inches long and weighs about 2 pounds. In the 7th month of pregnancy, weeks 25 to 28, week 25. More body fat make the fetus's skin less wrinkled and plumper. Its nervous system is quickly maturing. Week 26. The fetus makes melanin, the substance that gives skin and eyes their color. The fetus's lungs start to make surfactant, a substance that helps it breathe after birth. Week 27. The fetus can open its eyes and blink. It also has eyelashes. Week 28. The fetus may begin turning head down in your uterus as it gets ready for birth. At the end of the 7th month, the fetus is about 14 to 15 inches long and weighs between 2 and 3 pounds. Now, on to the 3rd trimester. This is the final part of your pregnancy. You may be tempted to start counting down the days to your due date and hope that it will come early. But each week of this final stage of development helps the fetus prepare for birth. Through the 3rd trimester, in the 8th month of pregnancy, weeks 29 to 32, week 29, you may notice the kicks and jabs feel more like pokes now that the fetus is getting cramped in the amniotic sac. Week 30, the fetus can control its own body heat. Its brain is maturing and growing rapidly. Week 31, the fetus can process more information and stimuli. You can probably notice more distinct patterns in when it's awake and when it's asleep. Week 32. The fetus's skin isn't translucent anymore. Other than the lungs and the brain, most other organs are well formed and ready for birth. In the 9th month of the 8th month, the fetus is about 17. Week 33. The fetus's bones are hardening, with the exception of its brain, which needs to be soft to descend the birth canal. Week 34. The vernix that protects the fetus's skin starts to get thicker. Week 35. The fetus's brain continues to grow, but still only weighs 2/3 of what it should be at birth. Week 36. The fetus loses its lanugo, and it has hair on its head. At the end of the 9th month, the fetus is about 17 to 19 inches long and weighs from 6 to 7 pounds. In the 10th month of pregnancy, weeks 37 to 40, this is the final month. You could go into labor at any time. At this point, the fetus's position may have changed to prepare for birth. Ideally, week 37, its head down in your uterus. The fetus's toenails reach the end of its toes. You may feel very uncomfortable in this final stretch of time. You may start to feel the fetus drop as the fetus drops down into your pelvis. Week 38. The fetus is packing on 0.5 pounds per week to get to its final size. Week 39. The fetus is full term and ready to meet the world. Week 40. It is your due date. Call your pregnancy care provider if you notice any signs of labor. By the end of the 10th month, the fetus is about 18 to 20 inches long and weighs about 7 to 9 pounds. That is all for our presentation. Thank you for listening.